Good evening, my little wolves. I'm Luna. Tonight I'm reading you my story, not Dan's version, not the one he tells to make himself sound brave, or to pretend he wasn't terrified, bleeding, and stubborn enough to make death look like a hobby. This is what happened when I caught his scent on the air, and I realized someone thought that they could take what is mine. Listen carefully, not because it's romantic, but because it's instructional. Now, begin. Dan's blood reaches me before the sound does. The copper sweat mist hangs in the air like incense, but beneath it lurks something else, a shimmer of starlight, a whisper of ancient forests. My fangs descend involuntarily. My throat burns as if I've swallowed molten gold. The scent doesn't fade like human blood would. It lingers, pulsing with each of his weakening heartbeats. Each molecule carries centuries of memories, lineages that shouldn't exist. My fingers curl into claws as that first crimson note drifts towards me. My body knows before my mind can process. The blood of my Dan is spilling onto concrete floors where it should never be. I move. Marrow materializes at my left shoulder, her breath so controlled I can't hear it even with my heightened senses. Silk appears at my right. I taught them that. Good girls, loyal girls, killers I forged out of tragedy and appetite, both silent as a blade's shadow. We pour through the alleys, our footfalls making less sound than rats. Dan's blood scent thins in the air, molecule by molecule. The space between his heartbeats stretches longer. Something tears inside my chest, ancient tissue I thought had calcified centuries ago. Marrow signaled with a gesture so subtle only a monster would have caught it. Three sharp flicks of her right hand, knuckles barely rising above her hip, code for perimeter cleared, nine dispatched. Even as the memory of her last kill cooled, Marrow's face never betrayed it. I'd watched her slit a man open from groin to larynx once, and afterwards she had looked at her own hands with more suspicion than regret. Silk lounged next to her, step so soft she barely mussed the dust around my boots. Something wet glistened on her thumb. She dragged it across her tongue, savoring the residue with a mimicry of delight. One begged, she announced. Her voice was a velvet rasp, oddly cheerful. The other went for prayer. Neither was particularly good at it. She licked a molar, lips parting just wide enough to show the dental work I paid for. I could smell the iron on her breath. It blended with the chemical tang of the warehouse. We step inside and I see him, slumped and pale, one hand clutching his side like he's trying to hold the world together with gauze and stubbornness. Iron bleeds from him. I could smell it. I feel it poisoning the magic in his blood. Smelling it, I freeze. Blazing fury stabbing through my veins, signaling my terror for him. It has been a century since anything made me pause. I hate it. Marrow steps ahead of me, waiting for a command. Silk tilts her head in delight at the carnage to come. I make note of their faces. These men are already corpses. They just don't know it. I lift a single finger. That's all they need. Marrow returns to shadow, a shape slipping into places light refuses to go, while Silk walks forward as though entering a stage. The first man doesn't hear Marrow behind him as his spine folds inwards with a crack. The second tries to turn his gun, but Silk steps behind him and hums a show tune. As the tune ends, so does he. The others scream, "Good." Dan does not respond. Not good. This is the part I remember least clearly, as my rage and pain make memories unreliable. Marrow tears a man's throat out, while Silk garrots another with his own tie, now wrapped around her wrists, smiling brightly. The last man lifts his gun toward what's mine. I blur, and he never finishes. When it's done, the room smells of blood, gunpowder, and inevitability. Dan's skin has gone the color of old porcelain, blue veins visible beneath like hairline cracks. His shoulder blades dig into the wooden pallets beneath him. Each breath whistles through his parted lips, the seconds between them stretching longer and longer. When he sees me, the corner of his mouth twitches upward, a movement so small it would have been imperceptible to human eyes. I drop to my knees, the concrete floor cracking beneath the impact. Blood darkens his shirt, a spreading constellation against white cotton. My chest constricts with an ache I haven't felt since my heart beat its last. My fingertips trace his hairline, coming away damp with sweat. "Daniel," I whisper. His eyes flutter. "I'm here, Luna," he breathes, the words barely disturbing the air between us. Silk leans close, her porcelain face hovering inches above the wound, nostrils flaring at the metallic scent. "He shouldn't be alive," she whispers, tracing one lacquered fingernail along the ragged edge where bullet met flesh. "Iron like that should have pierced his heart and turned his blood to rust." Her voice carries the detached fascination of a child studying a dying butterfly. Marrow crouches opposite her, obsidian eyes narrowing to slits beneath her severe brow. "He is only half something ancient," she murmurs, pressing her palm against the floor where his blood has pooled into a glistening black mirror. "Built to survive. What should kill him?" Silk's lips part in a predatory smirk, teeth gleaming like polished bone beneath the warehouse harsh fluorescence. "I like him," she purrs, running her tongue across her upper lip. "He bleeds pretty." My voice becomes a guttural snarl. "Touch him, and I will flay you alive. Nail your still quivering skin to these walls." Silk's eyes dilated with pleasure, her smile spreading unnaturally wide across her face. She lives for these moments when my civilized veneer cracks and ancient monster beneath surfaces. Mara remains statue still, only the slightest tightening around her eyes betraying that she's registered my threat at all. Her hands work methodically over the wound, but she shakes her head. "I can't do anything here. This is beyond battlefield medicine." I gather Dan against my chest, alarmed at how little he weighs now, how his skin has gone the color of winter sky. His lips move against my collarbone, mumbling about some mechanical project he left unfinished. "Listen to him babble," Silk whispers. Should that concern us? It should terrify you, I say, my voice dropping to something ancient, because it terrifies me. They go still at that. The taste of fear coats my mouth, foreign and bitter after centuries without it. Dan's pulse skips beneath my fingers. His breath stutters. I make a vow to the emptiness where my faith once lived. If his light extinguishes, I will dismantle the city, piece by bloody piece. Marrow's eyes harden, Silk's smile widens. No further explanation needed. We vanish into darkness, Dan cradled against me, like the last ember of a dying fire. Yes. That's the part people misunderstand. They think monsters are chaos. They think hunger is sloppy. They think violence is loud. It isn't, when you do it correctly. If you enjoyed the reading, like the video and subscribe. It tells the city you want more. And I do appreciate consistency. Now leave your questions in the comments. Ask about me. Ask about Dan. Ask about the rules. And what happens when someone breaks them. If your question proves you were listening, maybe I'll answer in the next video. And if I don't, try again.